CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. In this video, I'm going to describe to you what these are, how it's going to affect your future, not good, and how to protect yourself from them, which is actually pretty easy. CBDCs is the next big scary thing that everyone is supposed to be scary about. First it was the pandemic, and then it was the Great Reset, and now it's CBDCs until it's something else. And I've been talking about CBDCs, or at least mentioning them, since 2009. When I was talking about how I didn't really predict, where I guessed, and it wasn't a prediction, but more of a guess, that China would be the first big government to create some sort of China coin or Fed coin or something like that. So this news is nothing new. If you don't know what CBDCs are, that stands for Central Bank Digital Currency, and that is basically the big government version of cryptocurrency. So this is when your big, giant, authoritarian, quasi-socialist, collapsing Western government, United States, Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, creates a Bitcoin-like digital currency where you can use that currency, or you will be forced to use that currency to conduct business and buy things and sell things and things like that. When that occurs, your government will know literally everything you're doing with your money at all times in real time. They'll be able to press a button and see exactly where your money is coming, where it's going, where you're spending it, where you're storing it, where you're earning it from, and you will have pretty much no financial privacy whatsoever. They can use this information to issue things like carbon credits, or modify your social credit score, or worse, in my opinion, tax you. It's gonna be very, very easy to tax you because they will be in control of the currency. They can just press a button and suck the currency out of your account whenever the hell they want, and all kinds of horrific things. Will CBDCs be something that actually occurs in your life over the next few years? Yes. As I've talked about many times in my videos, somewhere around 2020, the entire world, particularly the Western world, has entered into a political, economic, and cultural dark age that will perhaps last several decades. And this will be the next phase of this when government, and it's going to take them some time, but when big government gets their act together and is able to use technology to further enact authoritarian measures upon your life. And so, yes, the people that most of you voted for, Democrats and Republicans or the non-American equivalents for the past 35 years, will enact these things over the next several years. We don't know when, but yes, likely this is coming. So yes, they are bad. Yes, they are coming. We don't know when. I think the people who are panicking about this are saying it's going to come much sooner than it is. I think it's going to take longer than people think. But yes, likely this will occur. My wild guess, again, this is a guess, not a prediction, is that authoritarian countries like China will do this first, and the Western world will follow suit very quickly. The elites in charge of the Western world are slobbering over this. They cannot wait to do this. It gives them so much power, they can't stand it, and this is definitely a priority on their to-do list. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can protect yourself from CBDCs, because believe it or not, what these people who are panicking about CBDCs don't realize is that the solution is actually very simple. It's not easy, but it is very simple. Simple and easy are two different things. So here now are the 4 ways in which you can protect yourself from the CBDCs, which are probably coming into your life. Number 1, top of the list, 5 flags. In other words, everything I talk about at this YouTube channel, internationalizing your life, moving away from the collapsing West, getting your money out of the collapsing West. This is solution number 1. As a matter of fact, very recently, George Gammon, I know a lot of you watch his YouTube videos, did a whole thing on CBDCs. And at the very end of his long video, he said, okay, the way to solve this problem is move out of the country. But then he very quickly added, correctly, here's the problem. You're not going to do that. Most of you, he said, are not going to pull your kids out of school and go move to Paraguay. And what if your girlfriend and wife says, I don't want to move there? So you're going to be stuck in your collapsing authoritarian socialist Western country, and you're just going to take it like the good beta male you are. But if you are not in that category, if you've been paying attention to anything I've been talking about on this YouTube channel for many years, you won't do that. You will embrace 5 flags, or at least to a degree, as an international-based lifestyle. You will move out of the collapsing West. You will get your money out of the collapsing West. You'll base your business entities outside of the collapsing West. Just like when I talked about the Great Reset. The Great Reset, the people who are really excited about this and the governments that are very excited to do this are basically United States, Canada, Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand. In other words, the collapsing West. Most countries in South America, Southeast Asia, Middle East, various other regions of the world do not give a rat fuck about the Great Reset, and CBDCs is the exact same thing. My secondary home is the country of Paraguay. Do you think Paraguay is going to give a rat fuck about adopting any sort of CBDC system when America does it? No. And so because I will have money down there, a flag down there, and various other things, I will not be nearly as affected as all of you Americans, Canadians, Europeans, Australians, New Zealanders who are sitting around just taking it because you've decided to stay in the collapsing West, keep all your money in the collapsing West, keep your business in the collapsing West, keep your job in the collapsing West, and so on. In other words, everything I talk about here at this channel, everything I do, the seminars we put on, the Get Residency events we have, the services we have, the coaching packages we have to help you build location-independent income, all of that will either solve or greatly alleviate the negative influence CBDCs has over your life. This is why you will notice I have never been panicked about this. I've never been concerned about this. You know why? I don't live in the United States. I don't live in Canada. I don't live in Europe. I don't live in Australia. I don't live in the West. I got the fuck out of the West several years ago, and I've been very happy since then. Now, is it possible other countries outside the West may adopt some sort of CBDC system? I live here in Dubai. Is it possible they may adopt that kind of thing here? Possible. Yes, that could happen. Or they may say, wow, look at all these people moving out of the collapsing Western world and moving to Dubai. This is great. Let's just keep this going and not have CBDCs. That is also possible. There will always be many, 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 many countries all over the world, some of which you might like to live in or spend time in, that will not adopt this type of system. A lot of people who are strong enough, smart enough, and have enough emotional control to get the fuck out of the Western world will go to these countries and bring their money there and their resources and their human capital there. And these countries know this. So there will be an incentive for many of the smaller up-and-coming countries to not embrace a system like this. As I've said only about 10,000 times, if you stay in the collapsing Western world, you're gonna get screwed by all these problems. If you leave the collapsing Western world, and I realize that's easier said than done, I understand, but if you do that, these problems will either be a complete non-issue for you or an issue, a problem, but not something major. And please don't start in with the excuses about I can't leave my family. If that's your excuse, watch that video right now. Pause this video. Watch that video right now where I address, what about my family? And what about gun rights? And what about this? And what about that? All the excuses you guys like to leave. If you look at all the videos on this Sovereign CEO channel, I have addressed every excuse you guys come up with. There are no excuses. 5 flags. International diversification of lifestyle is the answer to CBDCs. At least it is the best answer. The number 2 way to protect yourself against CBDCs, to a degree, is anonymous cryptocurrency. That would be cryptocurrencies that are 100% anonymous, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are not 100% anonymous. They're anonymous-ish. But there are some cryptocurrencies out there that are indeed 100% anonymous and cannot be traced. Monero is an example. Pirate Chain is an example. I own both these, by the way. If you use these to conduct business, you'll be okay. There is no way the government can get into these currencies, track these currencies, shut down these currencies, buy these currencies. Yes, the government can make it difficult, just like they made smoking pot difficult in the United States up until a few years ago, but everyone smoked pot anyway. And yes, there will be other issues with this. I understand it's not a perfect solution, unlike moving out of the collapsing West, which is what you should do. But basing a lot of your finances around not only cryptocurrency, but 100% anonymous cryptocurrency will help you a lot. By the way, if you like this content where we talk about how to create location-independent income, move to a less bad country, or at least set up an international backup plan and do all these things for very little money, you should subscribe to this channel, put a like on this video, click the notification bell, and leave a comment on this video, and that way you'll be sure to get this content for free in the future. The third way to protect yourself against the CBDCs that are coming is precious metals, specifically gold, number 1, and silver, number 2, in that order. If you have plenty of gold coins and silver coins, again, ideally located outside of the Western world, or if they're in the Western world, they are very strongly hidden. They're not sitting in a Western bank in a safety deposit box. That's the dumbest place to store your precious metals. I don't know why people still do this. But if they are far away or hidden very well, then you can use these to offset some of the problems of CBDCs. When you conduct transactions using things like this, the government doesn't know. Now, I know what the response is. Well, Caleb, they could make those illegal. That is possible, but unlikely. Doing something like making gold illegal like FDR did in the 30s would be extremely complicated today for reasons that are outside the scope of this video. I don't view that as a strong possibility. But even if it occurs, you can still use your gold. Just because someone like Trump or Biden says, okay, your gold is now illegal, does that mean you're going to take all your gold and hand it over to the government? Probably not, right? Unless you live in Australia, then maybe you'll do that. But Americans, Canadians, and probably Europeans aren't going to do that. You can still utilize your gold within the country, take it outside the country. I have other videos here at the Sovereign CEO channel on how to store gold, on how to travel with gold, how to take gold through international borders and things like that. So this will help. Gold, number one, silver, number two. As I have said many times, I have lots of crypto, I have lots of gold, I have lots of silver. I have lots of all these things because, again, I knew this was coming a very long time ago, so I'm good to go. The last way in which you can help offset the negatives of CBDCs, and this is the worst way, but it is possible, at least for a while, is to just use cash. The reason governments hate cash, and I've been writing about governments' war on cash for about 15 years over at my other blogs. Governments hate cash because they can't control it, they can't manage it, they can't see what you're doing with it, and they can't tax it, so they can't stand it. So they make up a bunch of things about, terrorists and money laundering and crack down on a bunch of anti-cash laws and make certain bills illegal and all that good stuff. But if you utilize cash, this will offset the CBDC system. Now, I know some of you will say, well, they might make cash illegal. Again, that would be extremely complicated, and that is even more unlikely than making gold or silver illegal. If the United States one day said, okay, all cash is now illegal, the economy would grind to a halt. It wouldn't work very well. So if that happens, that's something that's going to happen over many decades. It's going to take them a long time. The next thing you might be saying is, well, okay, they'll let you use cash, but if you use cash, they'll force you to give your fingerprint. And they're going to force all the companies in the entire world to use a fingerprinting system, or else they won't be able to conduct business, so they'll force you to use your fingerprint if you use cash. Yes, that could happen, but again, that kind of sweeping authoritarian 1984 change that requires what I call hyper-competent government. Is government competent? No. That's going to take a very, 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 very long time. That's not going to happen when they initiate CBDCs. That could happen many, many years after that. And again, if you just leave the Western world, very few of this is a problem for you anyway. CBDCs is a very big topic. It's a very complex topic. I just scratched the surface here. If this is something you want me to talk more about, I'm certainly happy to do that. In the meantime, if you want to leave the collapsing West, and you should, here are 11 cool countries you can move to, and I'll see you in that video.